morning, everyone. Before we begin the Commissioners' Workshop meeting today, we will have a TEFRA hearing, issuance by the Cumberland County Municipal Authority of tax-exempt revenue bonds for Diacon Lutheran Social Ministries financing request. Mr. Gilbert.
Thank you very much. Hubert Gilroy, Solicitor for the Cumberland County Municipal Authority. This is the time set for the opportunity for public comment with respect to the authority's financing with Diacon. Here today with me is Dana Greenalg, who is the Senior Accountant for Diacon, and Peter Edelman, who is Counsel for Diacon. This is simply a time to take public comment with respect to the financing, and it's so advertised for that. The record should reflect that the authority met last week and approved the financing subject to approval by the county commissioners.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gilroy. Is there any public comment? Hearing none. Solicitor Brennan, will it be appropriate to close the hearing?
You may close the hearing.
All right, hearing is closed. Thank you, Mr. Gilroy.
All righty, welcome everybody to the Cumberland County Commissioners Workshop meeting of May 5th, 2016. Please rise and join me in saying the pledge
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. We'll call this meeting to order at 9:01 a.m. We're open for public comment. Seeing and hearing none. We'd like to make a slight alteration to the agenda. We're going to bring Matt Stoner up from item number 19, capital project request, the purchase of a vehicle for the coroner's department, total project cost $38,220. Matt?
Thank you for jump on that, so come up, so I apologize for that. This is a capital request. It was initially going to be to replace a vehicle with a high mileage due to the recent events of hiring a lot more staff to the office. We would like to keep that current vehicle with a high mileage to get a few more years out of it and put one more on the fleet. Just not a transport vehicle, it's just a response vehicle. Total cost of $30,200.
And Matt, what kind of vehicle is it?
Ford Explorer. Just kind of identical to what the sheriff's house used.
Okay. Any questions or comments for Matt about the request? All right, thanks, Matt.
All right, thank you, Matt.
We'll resume our normal agenda for item number 3, employee recognition of John Quirk, 20 years of service, and that will be done by Commissioner DiFilippo of Bob Site. Come on up, gentlemen.
We are here to recognize John Quirk, 20 years of service. He was hired in April 1996 as dispatcher 1, promoted to dispatcher 3 in 2003, promoted to shift supervisor in 2007, promoted to emergency management resource coordinator later in 2007, and promoted recently to 9/11 operations manager just a month and a half ago. John, you're really getting promoted a lot. It must mean something that you're doing your job very well. I'd like to, on behalf of the county and the Board of Commissioners, we'd like to recognize your 20 years of service and thank you for a job well done. Thank you.
We're really fortunate John took the trip over the mountain from Shermansdale 20 years ago. He certainly has served the community well, both as a volunteer fire chief and working for the county in 911. Did a little transition to emergency management and then come back to 911 as our operations manager. His attention to detail, organizational skills has been huge with the reorganization. The daily push for very high expectations has done the department well. So, John, thanks, and we get another 15, we'll be good.
Lunch in there, lunch in there, sweet picture time.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you, John.
Congratulations. Move on to item number 4. We'll call on Robin Tolan and Sean, the designer, to talk about press release for mental health awareness month activities for 2016.
Morning. Hi, everyone. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and although we're a few days past the beginning of the month, we did kick off our walk on Friday, April 29th, to kick off Mental Health Awareness Month. We had over 150 people actually attend, which was pretty amazing given the weather, which was not all that great. I do have t-shirts for folks who weren't able to attend. Commissioner Herschler, you already got yours, so you don't get another. But I'll pass those, I'm not sure which sizes y'all have,
Okay, well, thank you.
and there's an extra one in there. I'm not sure who was supposed to get the extra one, but we have with us today, other events other than the walk happening for Mental Health Awareness Month are on Tuesday, May 17th, we're doing a business webinar for companies, managers, directors, individuals in human service roles to be able to have a better understanding about how depression affects individuals in the workplace. So if anyone's interested in that, it is on the link to register for the webinar is on our mental health website, the portion of the website that's for MHIDD. Please get one and register. There's plenty of room for others to participate in that. And then the other event that we're having is on May 23rd, the Community Support Program Conference that we're having for individuals in recovery, and that will be at the Radisson in Camp Hill. But who we have with us today is Sean Stewart, and he is the creator of the t-shirt. He's the one who did the design. He's going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to turn around so you can see what it was.
Yeah. Well, when we came up with the idea for the Perry Cumberland Mental Health Awareness Walk, we decided that we were going to make the t-shirt purple this year. And when we thought the colors blue and yellow, just really thought it would stick out on the purple. Now, there could be so many different reasons why I picked this. Some of it being because butterflies, the beauty of a butterfly becoming a chrysalis and all that. And because people become beautiful in the mental health system, they do what they're supposed to do, and they get better at what they're doing and actually go somewhere. But the semicolon is what I use in the butterfly, which symbolizes a sentence that hasn't ended but is going to continue. And that's basically it.
And that's the beauty of recovery, that the things that you go through aren't ending your life, but rather helping you to continue.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sean.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, wait, hold on. He wants a picture. Do you want that? Great. What? Don't have to take the whole one up?
Sure.
There. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Nice job.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, folks. Next, we have two very special dedications to Cumberland County. The first one I'll call on Anthony DeLuca for the dedication of a plaque for the juror chairs.
I'm not going to be able to hold this very long because you need to have a little bit of muscles here. But I was at the Y last night. On behalf of the Cumberland County Bar Foundation, Susan and I would like to present this plaque to the commissioners, which commemorates the restoration of the jurors' chairs and judges' seats over at the old courthouse. And we hope that those chairs will continue to be there and possibly used at times for another century or two.
Thank you.
Pass that on to you.
Thank you.
Any plaque?
We'll take turns.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right.
Thank you.
And next, I'd like to call on Hubert Gilroy for the dedication of Judge Hess's portrait. You have to come up, Judge.
Good morning, everyone. We have with us today, first of all, Hubert Gilroy, President of the Cumberland County Bar Association, retired judge, that's tough to say that word, Kevin Hess, and his favorite girlfriend, wife, Connie. We, as a tradition with the Bar Association, do a photo and present it to the commissioner, so we're happy to do that. Judge Hess has been with us for how many years as a judge? 30 years. And he's well respected throughout the entire Commonwealth for his general demeanor, approachability, and wisdom on the bench. And you could always tell when you were getting under his skin because the red would go up. So he gave out appropriate signals. But we will miss him, and we're very proud that he's been within Cumberland County, and we're proud to present this to the commissioners for the appropriate spot to hang Judge Hess. So. Congratulations, Judge. Thank you very much.
Everybody smile. Great, your turn.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Very photogenic.
In support of Judge Hess, I'm here to urge his immediate and swift hanging.
Commissioners, you can take your seats.
All right.
You get to lead.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Keep moving on. Item number 6, again, I will call on Mr. Gilroy for the discussion of resolution 206-15 for the Diagram and Social Ministries finances.
I'm sure folks behind me on the agenda will be glad to see me leave with how many items I've had here today. The resolution before the commissioners for approval at your next meeting is a standard resolution similar to what you've done before with Diacom. You approve the financing and allow the authority to proceed with it. There's no assets of the authority or the county being pledged, and the purchasers of the bonds shall only look to assets of Diacom for purposes of being paid. So a standard thing, we've done this a number of times with Diacom. They have facilities in the county and in other counties, but one of their major facilities is here at Cumberland Crossing. Any questions? Okay,
Thank you.
we'll leave now.
Thank you, Mr. Gilroy.
Thank you.
Always welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 7, for which action is requested, call on Jeff Swope from Boston Library and Janelle Dark from CCLS, so the letter of support for Library Services Technology Act grant.
Good morning, Commissioners. We are requesting action this morning write a letter of support for a grant application that we are submitting to Commonwealth Libraries for federal money, Library Services and Technology Act grant. The timing of our request is so swift because they announced the grant application window just about a month ago. And we had to turn this around pretty quickly and decide on some projects that we have been considering that would best fit the guidelines for the grant application. And we're really excited because the opportunity that we're applying for funds fits in very nicely with the strategic partnership agreement that we signed with the commissioners that would emphasize services that would provide more internet services for people who do not have those services, but outside the library's walls. I'll turn it over to Jeff. Jeff is the chief architect and grant writer for this application, and this is his brainchild, and I'm really excited that he has shepherded this through.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm really excited to be putting this application together. This is a growing trend in public libraries across the United States, and it predominantly started in the major libraries, the New York Publics, the Chicago Publics. While doing my research for this grant application, I've come to find out that Chester County, communities like Coatesville and Pottstown libraries have started to provide these services as well. So large, medium-sized county system independent libraries have done this. So what we're hoping to do is be able to leverage these federal funds through this grant to purchase 160 mobile Wi-Fi hotspots, which we would circulate to the members of our community. They would be dispersed throughout the 8 library locations across the county, and people would be able to check them out at no charge. So it's really a great extension of the type of in-house Wi-Fi and computer access, but allows people to do it in their homes. At times libraries aren't open on Sunday night at 9 o'clock when their daughter or son says, yeah, that homework assignment's due tomorrow, and they can't necessarily get 2-hour services. So we're really excited about that. So that's the
There
basis.
are, at least 3 school districts in the county who provide mobile devices to kids, but they don't have the Wi-Fi, the internet access built right into that. So this would help those students who do not have that kind of access at home, because that's one of the chief barriers to internet access service. Do you have any questions?
First of all, thanks for coming before us, and I'm certainly in support of you going after the grant today. But this is, something I think pretty new in our county. How are you going to? What are the guidelines going to be? Do you have you discussed that with respect to who all might be eligible, or is this going to be essentially available to anybody who wants to loan these? And then I'm guessing that this is going to be like you'll be able to, similar to a book, you'll loan it out for a certain period of time, and then so how's the program going to work if you're successful?
Well, at this point, based on the fact that often LSTA grants are either fully funded or partially funded, that may inform exactly how we do it. But right now, the plan would be that people would be able to check them out for a month at a time. So in essence, they would have a month's worth of access. So if they're doing a school project, if they're doing their taxes in April, if they're doing job and employment, either skill development or applications for jobs, having it for 1 week and putting out a whole bunch of online job applications, and then after that week not being able to gain access to get back to any responses they receive would make it prohibitive for them to use it. So we're looking at a month at a time. Again, that would be with having a capacity of 160 of them across the county. Any patron of ours, anyone with a library card, would be able to check them out. So it would be equal access to all of our patrons.
First come, first served?
First come, first served.
So anybody essentially who's a member of the library would be able to borrow monies.
Okay, and that would include Chester County employees trying to put together a last minute PowerPoint.
In speaking with Chester County Library System, there are a lot of benefits beyond even serving those who cannot afford that kind of access on a month-to-month basis. privately. They have a lot of startup businesses and entrepreneurs who are doing presentations, who is out from their library to be able to go do that. They have people who are traveling to see family or going on a vacation or going on some type of a trip and don't have access where they're going and can use it. So what I'm finding in that investigative sort of portion of this is, while the main focus of this is to increase access for those who can't necessarily afford it on their own, there are a lot of other opportunities for this use as well.
All right, Commissioner Bucco, there is an action request.
Yes, is there a motion for a letter of support from the Library Services Technology Act grants?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your support, appreciate it.
Move on now to item number 8, Paul and Kate Molinaro for 2 items regarding Housing and Redevelopment Authority versus the Community Development Block Grant Program budget modification. Second is a memorandum of agreement between the Cumberland County and Pennsylvania State Historical Preservation Office.
Good morning. We're recommending the following revisions to the county's Community Development Block Grant Program. First, 2016 CDBG, we're requesting to modify the project description for the public facility activity ADA improvements, Berlin F Streets in Shippensburg Borough. Shippensburg has requested we shift the intersection improvements to the Earl and Orange Streets intersection. At this time, they're identifying that intersection as greater need for the ADA improvements. The next 3 proposed revisions all involve reducing the budgets for completed activities in Shippensburg Borough, and then using the excess funds to increase the budget for that Earl and Orange Street project. Their preliminary estimates are higher than they anticipated. 2010, we're recommending to reduce the activity public facility Branch Street Trail improvements in Shippensburg Borough by $90 and create the new activity public facility ADA improvements at Neff and Orange Streets in Shippensburg and funded at $90. 2013, reduce activity public facility ADA improvements Earl and King Streets in Shippensburg Borough by $2,794.61 and create a new activity public facility ADA improvements Earl and Orange Streets in Shippensburg, funding it at $2,794.61. 2014, reduce activity public facility community center lighting and safety improvements by $650.54 and create a new activity public facility ADA improvements Earl and Orange Streets in Shippensburg Borough and funded at $650.54. And finally, we're recommending in 2012 that we increase the activity acquisition Main Street Mechanicsburg light removal by $15,000 to $50,000. The commissioners approved $35,000 to this activity in September of 2015. An appraisal and preliminary estimates for demolition came in higher than anticipated, and so these $15,000 are unanticipated program income to the county that we're recommending we put toward that activity.
All right, why don't we pause here and see if there are any questions? And
Yes.
just for the record, this is all those details that Kate ran through are outlined in a written memorandum to the Board of Commissioners database.
That's right.
Are there any questions on the budget modifications? All right, let's proceed then with the memorandum of agreement.
This item is related to the CDBG acquisition activity of the 203 East Main Street property in Mechanicsburg. The Blighted Properties Reinvestment Board, Cumberland County, and Mechanicsburg Borough Planning Commissions all certified this property is blighted, and I'm sure you all are familiar with the property that I'm talking about. The Redevelopment Authority, of course, intends to acquire this property either through purchase or, if necessary, by eminent domain. And the commissioners, of course, authorize the use of the CDBG funds to do that. As part of that process, we're required to conduct environmental review. And as part of that environmental review, the State Historic Preservation Office is required to sign off on that there's either no effect or that there is an effect on a historic district. And what are we going to do to mitigate that effect? And so this MOA outlines some items that the county, as the funder, can do to mitigate that effect on the historic district. And I believe the solicitor either has reviewed or will review this agreement. Yes.
Okay, are there any questions or comments? Thank you, Kate.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kate.
Next item will be Dana Best, number 9, discussion of 2016-17 preliminary fiscal budget and aid grant release.
We are requesting that on Monday, the fiscal budgets are placed on view. The total revenues for the fiscal budgets are $84,728,467, and the expenses are $84,756,620. These are preliminary numbers and will be updated through resolution when the state's budgets are approved and we receive our allocation numbers. And 89.4% of the funding is through state and federal grants, and 5.4% is through county subsidy.
Any questions or comments for Dana?
No, I think that's important to point out, though, this is both state and federal funds, not just state funds.
Most of them are passed through the state, yes.
Sizable portion is coming from the federal government, and I think that's important to recognize.
All right, any other questions or comments for Dana?
No.
Thank you, Dana. Dana, you're up again. Discussion of resolution 2016-13 regarding budget adjustments.
The sinking fund is requesting to increase revenues and expenses by $11,650,000 for the refunding of the 2008 GOB. The refunding will save the general fund $2,117,343 over the life of the bond, and the yield of the issue was 1.527%. Conservation District is requesting to increase expenses by $12,000, and this is an increase to cover it's crop payments to the farmers, and that it's their cover crops. The general fund is increasing revenues and expenses by $3,096,355 for the CNRC IGT payment, and criminal justice and intermediate punishment is increasing revenues and expenses by $37,387 for additional PCCD funding for the RIP treatment grant.
Are there any questions for Dana?
Yes, on item 1, did we, I believe we did, on the new general fund, the bonding, the new bond, we agreed that $2 million we're going to take the savings more upfront than
Correct.
out, correct? Okay.
There's a little bit in 16, off the top of my head, I think it's about 800,000 in 17 and 18, 200,000 in 19, and I believe there was like 25,000 for the remainder of the bond for a year.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, and Dana, then, for this Conservation District item, that is what we would call a cash crop.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Dana. Now I'm going to try my best to stand in for Sandy Rule on a well-deserved vacation and discuss 2 contracts and grants. Penny Brown, you're first up, with the Bureau of Elections Agreement, Election Systems Software Maintenance and Support Services.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is a request to renew our contract with our vendor who supports all of our voting equipment. It's $53,312. That's a drop from $69,000 last year. I'm not sure exactly why it came down. I didn't ask. We're pressing with this. It may not be clear that this is $53,000 per year, not for the entire 4 years. And we're pressing to approve that contract.
And this is a reduction of about 10,000 per year.
So it's flat amount each year?
That is correct. It will be $53,395.50 per year.
Instead of 63.
It's
Or whatever
60, it was
was.
69.
Oh, so it's 15. Okay.
In terms of the maintenance and support, I mean, the agreement itself, everything's the same.
Correct. It's just an extension.
And they didn't put something out of what they normally.
They did not. I double checked. It covers all 693 machines, both of our scanners, and all of the support that we need for our program.
Okay, so we're not getting the lower price for less service.
That's correct.
It's a great country. Thank you. Any other questions for any on this item? Congratulations for getting into another round of elections. Next up is Lisa Ryder from Children and Youth Services. She has 2 items. The Bear Foundation of Pennsylvania, and family care of children in need.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm here to ask for your approval on two fiscal year 15-16 contracts. Family Care Services asked for a 2% increase on their per diems, and Bear Foundation is holding steady at the 14-15 rates.
Any questions on that?
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Next up is Mike Trush from the nursing home, and there are 4 items: a Premier Healthcare Resources Inc. Contract, Tyson Truck Elevator Americas, Deloitte LLP, and Susquehanna Road Service.
Good morning, Commissioners. The first contract with Premier Healthcare Resources is an extension of the contract that we had before Raymond Soto had taken the administrator position. This is to bring back John Belko as the interim administrator. The first month is in April, and it was for $11,800, I believe. May is for $16,000, and that will continue until we find a permanent administrator for 6 months, and then we have the ability to extend it another 6 months if necessary. Another part of that contract is to have them handle our mock survey before the DOH survey and everything like that. And also it covers any consultant work and hours and travel after we hire an administrator to help out.
Any questions for Mike on that one? Okay.
The second contract is for ThyssenKrupp elevators. This is for the elevator that we have going down to the transitions rehab unit. Per DOH stipulations, every place in the nursing home has to be between 71 and 78 degrees Fahrenheit, and that elevator does not have an elevator heater in it to maintain that temperature. So we are looking for a contract to be approved for $3,054.69 to install that elevator heater.
Any questions on that? All right.
The third contract we have is for the Deloitte Volunteers. This is an annual thing that Deloitte does. The contract is a $0 cost contract. Half of the volunteers will be inside working with the residents, doing mostly activities, and then the other half will be outside doing gardening and landscaping and that kind of work in the yards for the facility.
So this is strictly just the terms in which their volunteers can provide services.
Yes.
Okay. Any questions on that? All right, Mike, you're on a roll. Keep going.
And the last contract we have up for motion is a contract for door maintenance. This is just an extension of a previous door service maintenance with Susquehanna Door Service that we had. This is because the doors that are with the transition rehab unit are now out of warranty, so we need them to have the coverage of the maintenance and services for those doors. There's 0 increase in the cost per door, but we are just adding more doors to the contract. So that's why there's an increase.
Any questions about doors? For Mike? All right, Mike, thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, Beth Chernak, ERP agreement with Infor-US Inc.
Good morning. This is a contract, a 3-year agreement for the maintenance and support for the Lawson software. Walking into a 3-year contract allows us to get a discount on the 2nd and 3rd year. The total contract is for $643,669.
Is that up, down, or the same?
6% the first year, 4% for the following 2 years.
All right. Any questions for Beth on that?
That's $643,000.
669.
And that's, I'm sorry, for how long?
3 years.
I'm hoping to get a lot of stuff for that. I mean, that's a lot of money. But Lawson is our ERP, I mean, we don't have much.
It provides all patching, all the year-end updates for taxes, W-2s, 1099s, all that's included.
All right. Any further questions for Beth on that? Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, through the miracle of video teleconferencing technology, we bring you Kirk Stoner with the Finance Liquid Fuels Agreement, HRG, Cumberland County Bridge Y-15 Preservation Proposal for Engineering Services. Kirk?
Sure, Commissioners, this is an addendum of $17,000 for some additional work on Aggie Bridge in South Middleton Township. We have a preservation project on that bridge. The purpose of the addendum is to do some additional work on the arches. There's a concrete liner on the underside. We have to do some additional work on it. And also to coordinate with Norfolk Southern on their right-of-way process, which is pretty extensive. The cost you see in here, we're estimating about $17,200 total extra. You'll see that some of the costs for Norfolk Southern are high. Their estimates of what they could be, we're hopeful that they'll come in under that.
Any questions or comments for Kirk? All right, Kirk, you're up for the next one. Planning Department Agreement, Craighead Bridge Final Design Supplement from PennDOT.
Sure, Commissioners, this is the supplement for our final design contract on Craighead Bridge, which is going to move to construction here in another month or two. The additional costs include the development of a landscaping plan to mitigate some of the impacts of the forested riparian buffer. As we work on the bridge, we will be having some impacts to the forested area along the creek. And also the inclusion of construction administration and inspection services as part of this contract.
Okay. Any questions for Kirk on that? All right, thanks, Kirk.
Thanks, Kirk.
Yep. All right, item G, Public Safety Department grant application, Claudia Garner, hazardous material response fund grant application.
Good morning, this is the state fiscal year 16-17 hazardous materials response fund application. The funds are used to sustain the team equipment for the hazmat team and to upgrade equipment, training, and developing, updating, and exercising response plans for the team. The average is about $36,000 to $37,000 that we receive each year. This is just the first step in the application process. We'll submit this documentation, and FEMA will determine our award amount and send that to us later.
Thank you, Claudia. Any questions or comments for Claudia on the grant application? Thank you. All right, let's move on to item 12. We'll call on Dave Best again for discussion of the credit application with Ahold Safe Financial Services.
This is an update to our current credit with Ahold. Currently, most of our departments are linked together and it's causing some issues, so this credit application is splitting all of our departments separate.
And then just, there's no cost for this?
There's no cost.
Any questions for Dana? All right, Dana, you're up again for item 13, discussion of an MOU between Cumberland County and the Borough of Carlisle regarding annual financial contribution to Carlisle Borough for fire protection services.
For as long as I can remember, we have been giving the Carlisle Borough fire stations a kind of it's like a payment in lieu of taxes for their services because we have many properties within the borough limits. This is, a couple of years ago, we started making payments directly to the Carlisle Borough and they disperse the monies. This is a memorandum of understanding to make that payment $8,000 per year to the borough and facilities will manage it in the future.
And this is all part of that sort of cleaning up of the county when we looked at the discretionary funding.
Correct.
Any questions for Dana?
Yeah, I do have a question. Looking at the MOU here, do we have enough assurance in this? Did you have a chance to look at this? I'm prepared. Okay, yeah. To make sure that the $8,000 goes to the fire departments.
If I recall correctly, the language specifically indicates it's to be used for fire services.
It says for the purpose of assisting those fire departments in the borough. I just think it's important that, if the intent is to provide the funding to the fire companies, that, make sure that the dollars do go to the fire companies.
I believe that the memorandum of understanding actually puts it in a contract so that it does. Before we were just sending the money and then there's no I think this is the step needed to make sure it does.
Okay.
This tightens it up.
Correct.
All right, any other questions on this item? Thank you, Dana and Keith. Item number 14, for which an action is requested, again, we'll call on Claudia Garner for the designation of an agent resolution from FEMA regarding disaster relief of Winter Storm Jonas.
All right, good morning. This is action requested due to a timeline. We're asking for you to approve Ron Snow from Finance, the Senior Financial Manager, to be the authorized signer for all of our documentation that we'll need to submit to PEMA and FEMA to obtain reimbursement from the snowstorm in January. Despite the weather, we actually will be receiving hopefully approximately 26,000 at this point is our number. It could fluctuate. We have a few other departments in the county, the nursing home is looking over some additional staffing, just to make sure that we've captured everyone's time, any overtime that was incurred during the 2 days of January 23rd and 24th. The prison, our department, and facilities management. So collectively, we're at 26,000 right now. All this does is recognize Ron as the signer for all the documentation. You'll get copies of everything that is done. And we're asking for action requested today because next week is our meeting with FEMA in which we have to turn this in.
So is there any discussion on this item before I turn it over to Commissioner Keeble for action? All right, Commissioner.
So we're looking for a motion to authorize Ron Snow as the official signer for FEMA and PEMA request due to the Winter Storm Jonas. Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
Thank you, Commissioner. Item number 15, audio video conferencing. Justin Miller, discussion of a request to authorize advertising proposals regarding Operation Recycle Convenience Center for Cumberland County Government. Justin, take it away.
Board Commissioners. So I've been trying to keep you up to date on a reduction in the number of electronic recycling outlets available to Cumberland County residents, in particular for televisions. This reduction has become so bad that I think we all know that currently Cumberland County residents have no options for recycling in PD. This is happening across much of PA, and we're somewhat of a victim ourselves. If you recall, we had an agreement with the recycler to do 2 events this year, and they breached the contract, which has happened to many other places in Pennsylvania. When you look across the state, though, what you'll see is that the collection programs that are continuing to operate generally are ones that have a permanent collection site. And I think we have a much better chance of attracting a recycler to work with us if we would have a permanent site. So we've talked internally, and we've identified the Old County Barn as a possible permanent site. So I'm recommending to you that we put out an RFP for what I'm calling operation of a recycling convenience center. Basically, we'd be making this collection site available, and we're going to ask recyclers to submit proposals on how they would operate such a convenience center, including a list of materials they'd be willing to accept. But at the minimum, they must accept electronics. The RFP is really just a starting point. It then allows us to select a recycler and negotiate a final working model, which we would obviously bring to you at a later time for your consideration. So that's my recommendation, that we authorize advertising this RFP.
Thank you, Justin. Are there questions or comments for Justin on this?
Justin, I just have one question. That is, for it to be a convenience center, obviously it has to be convenient. So hours are going to be very important. And are we designating what hours we expect the vendor, or are we asking them to tell us what hours they're able to operate?
Yeah, well, as it's laid out now, we're asking them to propose that, but that would be, I think everything would be open to negotiation. We have been visiting, we've been visiting some other sites, to get a feel for what their hours are.
Okay, and that is a county building, so, I mean, are we going to have turn control of that property over to them, or are we going to have people present at that time? Will that impact the hours potentially?
I'm sorry, can you say, I didn't hear you, Gary.
Yeah, that's fine. The hours, the barn itself will remain county property. So are we essentially leasing it to them, or are we going to have to maintain a presence there? Are we going to have people there when they have people there? How do you envision that working?
The way I envision it, in my mind, once again, I think this is a open negotiation, but I would like to see them provide a manager, and we could provide some additional labor assistance as required. But you're correct, we would still own the barn, it would be ours, and I think we'd have a lot of control in developing what actually happens there.
Are there other county uses currently in the barn? We use part of it, don't we?
Yeah, actually, John's sitting here. In case some questions were asked, I'll let John chime in here.
Yeah, the barn, we're using that for storage right now. When we did the rehab project, as you know, we moved all our storage over to the barn, and the bottom and top is pretty much filled. We're going to do another silent auction bid here over the summer, and we're going to try and clean out a lot of that. We had that cleaned out before the rehab project, but stuff just starts appearing at different times when people recycle or retire items within the county. So it is full right now, but Justin and Kirk and I, along with DEP and other people, went down there the other week, and they actually said that was larger than the facility that Kirk and Justin looked at the other day, would be more suitable, and they didn't see any drawbacks or any problems with the barn because you can get a forklift in there, and you can work with a forklift in it, has a dock area, and it also has a gate-in area that was used for the old impound. So it would be a convenient site, and it's set up. There's some work that we have to do with lighting, electric, things of that nature. We want to install cameras and a security system, and it has a egress area where you come in one end and go out the other end, which makes it applicable to what Justin is proposing.
Okay. One last question, and I mean, that is obviously our choices are limited, but the one question I think that came up at the authority meeting was the fact that that is located near a very busy intersection on a road that is increasing in traffic. Has anybody talked to the township? Have we heard any concerns from the township? Or are we anticipating any potential problems with that intersection, which is now, I guess, a three-way stop? Do we anticipate, because I would imagine the recycling center is going to generate considerable traffic volume.
That's a good question, Gary. To answer your question directly, I have not talked to the township directly. When DEP was there, they obviously see more of these sites just due to the nature of their work. And I asked them if they felt ingress, egress, traffic in their minds would be a problem. They did not think it would be a problem. With Kirk and I visited Berks County on Tuesday, and their barn, they use a county barn, very little staging area, and their population, I think, is quite a bit bigger than ours. And what we saw was just a nice steady flow of vehicles, but it never really backed up. But it's still a good question, and I think we need to look into it. John wants to mention something.
You have some excellent questions, because I was wondering about that myself, because the last event that Justin held at the fairgrounds, there was an unbelievable amount of traffic. And depending on how many hours of operation they have, that's going to have to be taken into consideration, as you mentioned previously with the RFP, because if you only do 1 or 2 days, obviously you're going to have a traffic backup. So with that staging area, with the staging area we currently have down there, you do have some backup with you can get so many vehicles in, But what you don't want to do is you do not want vehicles lined up along that Claremont Road, because that's a dangerous area anyway with that hill there at the prison. But they do have a light there, which does allow people to do now a four-way stop. If we're coming out of there, it's like a four-way stop. So that's a good question. That should be addressed.
My only concern there would be, because I know the township has raised issues with us previously in regards to increased activity out there, first from the Army Heritage Center, and of course there was speculation the county would be building out there at one time quite a while ago. And I know they, the township, have expressed concerns about the county's activities out there and what impact it might have on their need for road improvements, intersection improvements, things of that nature. So I would just hope that we're keeping them informed of what our plans would be as well.
We'll do that. Thank you, Gary. That's a good point.
Yeah, thank you for the answers. Appreciate it.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments for Justin?
I would just, first of all, Justin, I want to commend you for working toward a resolution to a need that our citizens in Cumberland County have with respect to getting rid of old television sets and other electronics that they're no longer permitted to dispose of at curbside normal trash collection. But, you know, we're talking about logistics here, we're talking about potential additional expense. And the fact of the matter is, you know, I think it's important to underscore again that this was never supposed to be a county or municipal responsibility. The law that was passed back in 2010 specifically identified the manufacturers of such equipment as the ones who were going to be responsible for the recycling of old television sets and electronics. So here we are once again, you know, faced with addressing a need, and I understand and I appreciate all the work that we're doing here. But, you know, the law needs to be fixed. It needs to be fixed in Harrisburg. You know, and our legislators, apparently, they just don't seem to get it yet. So, the bottom line is, what I'm concerned about is as we, you know, accept now this new responsibility that we were never supposed to have, whether that takes the focus off of our legislature in terms of addressing the problem, okay? We are doing this without any funding, so if we're going to be doing this, it's another unfunded mandate on the backs of local property taxpayers for a program, again, that was supposed to be the responsibility of the manufacturers of this equipment. So I think we need to move forward with this, hopefully as more of a temporary solution. But if it's going to be a permanent solution, I think we ought to be rattling the cage over there in Harrisburg for a funding mechanism or funding source to address this, you know, in the future.
Justin, could you, in that vein, could you give us a quick briefing? I mean, I know you circulated to us the correspondence, the following correspondence to our legislative delegation in regards to this issue of the need for a legislative fix that Commissioner Hertz alluded to. I'm just going to report out on this under the Israel report. Since you're here, would you mind just giving us a quick overview on where we're going with the legislative side of this?
That's probably a $64,000 question. Now, there's a lot of us across the entire state, I think, that echo the sentiments of what Jim just said. It's obvious at this point the law has been a total failure. Many of us are trying to get our legislators' attention, and what I've noticed in our efforts is it's kind of been lukewarm. I mean, they're obviously dealing with a lot of issues. And Jim has another excellent point in funding. We were crippled with our funding several years ago with the court cases, and there was a lot of push then to try to get the legislative body to make changes to do that, and that doesn't happen. So personally, I don't see a legislative fix coming quickly, if at all. I know there's a lot of pressure being put on, but it's just interesting to me that you don't seem, you know, it may be falling on deaf ears, unfortunately. Now, if you look, I don't know if you look through the details of the RFP, but the way I've structured it, I tried to structure it in drive them towards a model of they run the facility. They would be able to charge fees directly to the user to help cover some costs where they're allowed. Now, obviously, the current law is not allowed charging for electronics, but some of these fees for other things could help, cover some of those costs. So we're trying to be cautious and really basically say we don't want to get hit with a lot of costs here. We want to give you the ability to put together a working model that allows you to control costs on your end.
So Justin, all the requirements along those lines are laid out in the RFP, and the vendors or bidders will be expected to show that they complied with whatever guidelines that you have on fees?
That's correct. Now, we did allow, as I said to some others, one, it's going to be interesting to see what type of response we get. I think that'll tell us a lot right away. We did allow for alternative proposals just to see if what we're trying to drive is just not going to fly. We'll give them a chance to submit some other concept. So this is really, as I said, I see this as, let's use this to see if we can get our foot in the door, then we'll really sit down and hammer out details.
And Keith, you've seen this?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Jim Hip has reviewed it.
Oh, okay, good. Yes, I've seen
Yep,
it.
and
Improves. Facetious constituent services. And Justin, you don't need to answer this question or not, but do you think maybe if we started to tell people that they could drop their TVs off at our district, the district offices of our legislators, that it might be a way to maybe get their attention on this?
No comment.
I didn't hear that.
That's not working.
All right.
Thanks. I didn't expect it.
Prudently handled there, Justin. Any other questions for Justin on this?
Justin, Vince here, I just want to say what you're doing here. I think it's the right thing at the right time, and let's see what happens. We at least have to do this, so I thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Justin. Let's move on to item 16, call on Michael Trush again. Discussion of Pennsylvania Department of Health change of status form for CNRC Director Dr. Wallace.
This is just an update to the DOH form, updating it to Michael Gauss as our medical director, and also switching of the administrator of Raymond Soto to the interim administrator, John Belko.
Any questions on that for Mike? And just FYI, interviews have begun for the permanent replacement that began last fall. All right, let's move on then to item number 17, discussion of Department of Human Services amended intergovernmental transfer agreement, IGT accounting, Mike and Dana, and we are not going to be video teleconferencing anyone in from Delaware County's accounting department, right? Dana and Mike, take it away.
The amended agreement is that it's about $11,000 less than we had originally expected. On 6/3, we will be giving the state $3,074,772, and on 6/22, they will be giving back $4,680,731. Of this $4.7 million, only about $987 is technically new or non-accrued revenue. The rest of the 1.3 or 1.5 that we get back was part of the CPE amount that we've been accruing since July 15th. And that used to be portion of the MDOY payment, but then they broke it out, and now it's separate.
So Dana, without getting into all the glorious details, could you just tell us that this is going to be handled from an accounting perspective in a defensible manner, please?
It is. We will be making the payment from real estate tax revenue out of the general fund. So the $3 million will be coming from the general fund. The transfer will go back into the nursing home. So it will be a transfer out of the general fund, but the revenue comes back to the nursing home.
And it is clear this is not something that just Cumberland County is doing.
Correct.
This is part of a statewide effort led by PAC.
Yes.
in conjunction with the Department of Health.
Yes.
CMS.
Correct.
Okay.
And I think actually it's important for anybody who may be viewing or in the media that's present here to talk about, you know, the benefits of this, okay, a little bit in more detail. Bottom line is, through this intergovernmental transfer process, all right, Cumberland County and all of the counties that have county-operated nursing homes are going to be in the position to draw down additional federal dollars. So it actually statewide benefits the county-operated nursing homes to the tune of a net increase in federal funding of $45.3 million. And Cumberland County benefits to the tune of a net increase in funding from the federal government of $1.6 million. So, I mean, that's what the bottom line is. And I want to, thank all the folks at the Department of Human Services and also PACA, who work very hard to, achieve this, improved amount of federal funding for our county operating nursing homes.
And just one final note, this is just for either county-owned or county-affiliated 501c3-owned nursing homes, and this, in some part, helps to make up for some of the negative impacts of the current reimbursement structure that adversely affect county-owned or county-affiliated nursing homes.
There's about 20 other county nursing homes taking advantage of this in addition to us.
Including the ones from Delaware County.
Including the one from Delaware.
There's 100% participation of all county homes.
Okay. Any questions on this for discussion? Thank you, Mike and David. Thank you. Let's move on to myself. The discussion of the Workforce Development Advisory Group appointees for the county's community support program. The commissioners at our last meeting, the commissioners approved the RFP to be put out for potential bidders to improve the outcomes of workforce development within Cumberland County. Part of that program is an advisory group to review, recommend grantees, and then monitor performance over the course of the next 12 months following award. The 6 members you have below are the members that we are recommending for inclusion in that advisory group. They are myself, Dan Best from Finance, Bob DeGrosso from the Controller's Department, Jen Hipp from the Solicitor's Department, 2 community members who've been instrumental in the work, the consensus building that's been done over the last 6 to 8 months. That would be Jennifer Whitmermeyer from the Tri-County Community Action, representing the funding community, and Kentucky Companies, representing the employers of the county. Are there any questions? Thank you. Let's move on then to item number 19. We have John Law due for the Human Services Building carpet installation in various areas of the building. Total project cost $59,864. John.
Yes, Commissioners. This is a capital project for carpet to be placed at the HSB building. This is a cost that will be shared between the Drug and Alcohol, MHIDD, Children, and the Facilities Department. The impact to the general fund will be $3,141.12. This particular carpet installation will have to be done at night and on weekends, so it won't disrupt business. The total cost of the project is $59,864. Total square footage is 7,948 square feet. And the carpet, like I said, it impacts drug and alcohol, children, youth, and MHI. Same type carpet, but it's a different project. It is for the HSV building, so this is an additional carpet installation. The DRO carpet was completely separate from this, where you got 66% back. This is being funded by those three different departments and grants, and which only impacts the general fund by $3,141.12.
What was the
So
last?
it's a different project, but it's the same type carpet.
Okay, so it's a square block carpet as well, as what?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And what was the last time there was carpeting put in over the Human Services building? John, do you know?
It's been at least 20 years. So it's been there for quite some time. And what's happening is the backing on the carpet is coming apart, and the adhesive is not being applied, which creates the carpet to roll, and it's also ripping and tearing. So it's been at least, it's longer than I've been here, so it's been at least 20 to 25 years.
Thanks, John.
Any other questions for John?
Just want to mention, I was over at DRO this week, and the condition of the carpet there is absolutely horrible, so glad to see it's being replaced.
All right, thank you, John. And Mr. Kirk is up next, for Glen Bridge, Planning Department, $1.087,950,088. Kirk.
I'm going to be filling in for Mr. Steiner. He has big shoes to fill. It's kind of like Batman filling in for Superman, but let's see what we can do here. This capital project is $1,087,953.88. It's a capital request project for Lake Bridge, and this project is scheduled to be completed in September.
John, are there any muscles or historical preservation things that we have to watch out for in this one?
Not that I'm aware of. I believe all the permits are in place, and project's ready to go ahead.
All right, and Kirk has discussed this at length with the commissioners in the past. Are there any questions?
And if there's any delay beyond September, we're going to just say Kirk or John told us that it's going to be done by September.
Yes, I'm sure Kirk will say something about that.
Good. All right.
Kirk Steiner assured me. He assured me. It's definitely done by September.
Did he say what year?
He did not.
All right, John, thank you for filling in for Kirk. Let's go on to Commissioner Liaison Reports. We'll start off with Chairman Dupuy.
Yes, I had no meetings during this time period, but I do want to report that I did attend the Sunday event over at the Bosler Library to recognize the moving of the County Law Library to Bosler. It's just a great idea, good thing to do by having the county law library there. It's more accessible. We have the staff at Bosler working there, which is another plus for people to use that. So it's just a great idea. It was a nice event, not well attended, unfortunately, but you get a chance to get over there. So really good thing. Larry, that's all I have.
Thank you. Any questions for Chairman Dupuy? Commissioner Herzog.
Okay, the Harrisburg Area Transportation Study Coordinating Committee met Friday, April 22nd. Two projects in Cumberland County have been ranked to receive funding under the Transportation Alternatives Program, or TAP. They are the Carlisle Fairgrounds Trail with $380,000 in funding for the development of a multi-use pedestrian and cycle trail along Fairground Avenue, and a Lambs Gap sidewalk project with $78,000 in funding for approximately 660 feet of sidewalk from the intersection of Lambs Gap Road and Silver Spring Square North to the bridge crossing at the Connequinnet Creek. Amendments approved to the 2015-18 Transportation Improvement Program included a $2.6 million addition to the Erford Road Bridge project, so that while the bridge is being replaced in the near future, it will also be widened to provide for improved traffic flow in the area into the future. During the meeting, I also shared a copy of Hampton Township's resolution calling for the installation of median barriers along Interstate 81 to improve safety along the corridor in Cumberland County. And I also urged CAS and PennDOT officials present to give the matter priority attention. Of course, as we all know, this board subsequently approved its own resolution on that same matter. The Cumberland County Conservation District Board met Tuesday, April 26th. The board approved the hiring of 2 summer interns that this board previously had authorized, and named Barracks Dairy as this year's recipient of the Conservation District's Farmer of the Year Award. Barracks Dairy was recognized for its work over the years to improve manure management and conservation practices. There is a discussion underway as part of the so-called Chesapeake Bay reboot between the State Departments of Agriculture and Environmental Protection and our conservation districts with respect to conservation district technicians and their role in enforcement and compliance. Our conservation district is currently involved in a pilot initiative with the state on this matter, and there will be more to come on this subject in the near future. The county's Housing Redevelopment Authority, the Housing Authority has 1 seat expiring on May 25th, later this month, and staff has recommended the reappointment of Mark Bishop, who has agreed to continue to serve. So on Monday, I'll be making a motion to reappoint Mark Bishop to the county's Housing Authority for a new term. And finally, last Friday morning, I was pleased to represent the board. I know that Vince and Gary had other engagements. Was joined by our chief clerk at the Mental Health Awareness Rally across the street in front of the old courthouse. And as Robin mentioned, even though the weather was cold, dreary, and ugly, rainy, there were well over 100 people who participated in the walk and the rally to raise awareness to the struggles faced by those who suffer from mental illness and the supports available to achieve recovery from what we all know is often a debilitating disease. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Any questions for Commissioner? Commissioner Eichelberger.
Just a handful of items. The Planning Commission continues to move the comp plan revision process forward, and the committee will be meeting next week, the 12th, out at Allen Road. We'll try to attend that. They will be discussing the draft goals and objectives. Kirk's soliciting all the input on that, yes, so that they can have a productive meeting. Let's see here, on the Economic Development Corporation, we're all aware of most of what's going on there. I did want to mention the Policy Planning Committee will be meeting on the 18th, and I'm scheduled to attend that as well. I'll report back on anything essential there. Recycling, we spent considerable time on it. I'm not going to rehash all of that, but you all received a copy of the letter, follow-up letter that Justin sent to the legislators in terms of orientation and trying to promote some advocacy. And as a follow-up on that, Justin and I are going to be meeting with Representative Steve Bloom, who sits on the Conservation Committee that's handling that legislation next week, just to have a general brainstorming session on how we what direction we might go and how we might achieve some forward movement on the issue. So that's in the works. On the MH side, I think we pretty much covered. Robin was in, covered the walk very thoroughly, and thanks to Jim for attending. Planning to be there, unable to make it. But that's always an uplifting event, and it was good to see the turnout, even on bad weather. A handful of other things. There were the advisory board met in Perry County this past month, and just a handful of items to report out on that. There's April 7th, the IUD side of the shop held a parent-teacher seminar on options after graduation. As you heard me mention, that the the general direction in IDD these days is to try to find employment opportunities post-school for IDD consumers. So there's a lot of activity going on that, and this was apparently a parent-teacher seminar, and it was well attended, well over 100 participants attending from Cumberland, Dauphin, and Perry counties. And there was discussing new changes going on in the federal law that will help push that, the objective, forward. Also, the MH office continues to work on a suicide prevention initiative, which we've seen a major uptick in suicide issues in the country recently. Something that's on their radar, and they have a training program in place that they are rolling out to help counseling in that field. Also, ongoing activities for May, of course, being Mental Health Awareness Month, which we heard about earlier, including a webinar regarding employment and depression, which I think was referred to earlier as well. That's aimed at the business community to address the issues, of course, of sapping productivity and people's well-being as well in the workplace, and that's coming up on May 17th. That's everything I have.
Any questions for Commissioner Eichelberg? Thank you, Commissioners. Next, I'd like to report on the following executive sessions. April 27th, 2016 at 1 p.m. May 2nd, 2016 at 11:15 a.m. May 3rd, 2016 at 12:30 p.m. And all of these were regarding personnel issues. I'd also like to request an executive session today regarding personnel issues. Is there any other business? Hearing none and seeing none, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.